to Dose of DeAnn, where you'll get a little shot of what my life is like living with SMA. If you can't tell from my accent, I'm from Minnesota, or as some people say, Minnesota. It's cold here, so on a daily basis, I need to know what the weather's like, so I know how many layers of clothing I need and how thick my socks need to be. I don't know about you, but my feet are like icebergs most of the time. So if you have any tips on how to keep them warm, pass them my way. I jokingly refer to them as purple potato feet because they're so cold. This inspired my next Who Does It Best challenge between my Amazon Echo Show and Roy. I'm challenging them to tell me what the weather's like. So here it goes. You be the judge. Who does it best? Let's see what Roy thinks the weather's like outside. Roy, go outside. I have an automatic door opener. It's called Open Sesame. I've had it for about 14 years. And it takes, to open it, you use a garage door opener. Let's see if I can get it in the shot. Here's the garage door opener that I use to open the door. I also have a pocket on Velcroed to the joystick on my wheelchair, and that allows me to carry it with all the time. All right, let's see what Roy thinks of how the weather is outside. Come in the house. Oh, is it snowing outside? You have snowflakes on you. Yes. Oh, and your ears are chilly, so it still must be cold outside. Let's see what Alexa has to say. Alexa, what's the weather?
Currently, in Alexandria, it's 10 degrees Fahrenheit with flurries. You can expect more of the same today, with a high of 15 degrees and a low of -2 degrees.
There you have it. Pretty accurate and pretty quick. She even gives me a 7-day outlook, so I know if I have to bundle up. And yep, it's still winter out. So, what did you think? On the one hand, Roy did give me a pretty good indication what the weather was like outside. However, the Echo gave me an accurate forecast and the 7-day. I might have to give this one to the Echo. Every year around this time, mid-February, I get a very serious condition. It's called spring fever, also referred to as cabin fever. The only real cure for this was a tropical vacation, but since airline travel for me is too difficult, it's not really an option. There's a few great articles. I'm going to post the links below. One refers to this exact condition of cabin fever, and the other one explains the difficulties in airline travel and how the airlines are a little behind the times when it comes to making things accessible. But that's not to say I've never traveled and I don't travel. I just take smaller trips that are within driving distance. And when I was a kid, we would take little road trips. I give my parents kudos for being able to pack extra, having 2 children in a wheelchair and another older sibling that was always on the go. My little brother Scott passed away from SMA when he was about 4.5 years old. And my dad passed away a couple years ago. So these memories we created on our family trips are really important to me. Like when I got stung 5 times by wasps when they sent me on the picnic table. It was supposed to be an accessible park campground, but because it hadn't been used very much, a wasp nest was built under the picnic table. Luckily, I was the only one that got stung. Scott was safe, and I wasn't allergic. So we still had fun because we met Smokey the Bear and Woodsy Owl. On another trip, we heard these young teenagers talking about taking my wheelchair for a joyride. Of course, my dad stepped out of the tent and said, "I wouldn't do that if I was you." And of course, they took off. It was a good thing we had the battery charger because someone had left the door ajar on our minivan and my dad had to use it to jumpstart the van the next morning. We also had our fair share of critter encounters on our trips. One time we were camping and Mom and I were on one side of the tent and we could feel something rubbing against our heads on the other side of the tent. My dad got up to use the restroom. He came diving back in saying, "Skunk!" Well, ever since then I've been afraid of skunks, and it took a long time for me to be able to leave my window open overnight because I was afraid they'd come in through the window. My sister had to convince me that the windows would automatically shut if they sensed a skunk was nearby, and I believed her. Another trip, we were camping and we got to buy a pick-a-mix bag of candy. Of course, we only were allowed to eat a few pieces, and we had left the rest of the candy in a bag on the picnic table. Apparently, raccoons also like pick-a-mix candy, because when we got up in the morning, wrappers and candies were strewn everywhere. We were kind of sad that they got to enjoy the candy and we didn't. And then on our trip to Yellowstone, we were picnicking and a herd of buffalo walked through the picnic area. Good thing I was scared to death because my wheelchair maybe would have startled them. But I recommend if you encounter a herd of buffalo, just be very still. Those are some of the fun trips that we had. I highly recommend going out to Yellowstone if you get a chance. We actually were able to stop at Mount Rushmore on our way out there, and we went on the scenic Needles Highway where you get really pretty views of Mount Rushmore. We also stopped at Medora, where they have an outdoor musical, which was pretty neat. There's also a cave called Jewel Cave. I want to say it's in Montana. And that had an elevator going down to it, if I recall correctly. That was pretty neat. But if you really want to see an accessible cave, I highly recommend Mystery Cave in Forestville, Minnesota. They have an elevator going down into the cave and also a paved path. So you can go along the cave and see crystal formations and see deep into the cave. There's only one little section that I couldn't get to, and that's a little reflecting pool that's up a little narrow, steep step path. But other than that, it was really cool. I did get a chance to fly one time in my life, and that was for a dream vacation to Hawaii. We didn't bring my electric wheelchair because we had heard stories about airlines and how they're not too gentle on electronics. I think it's gotten better since then, but I think it was the right decision to take a manual chair. That way it was a little bit easier for transportation, and it was a lot more accessible certain places when you could bump up a step or two with a wheelchair. But most places were pretty good. We went to Oahu and Maui, and we even got to take a helicopter ride to Molokai, where the scene from Jurassic Park, the waterfall scene, was. So that was pretty cool. I wouldn't trade that trip for anything. If you have spring fever, maybe it's time to plan your next summer vacation. If you can't fly, maybe consider a road trip. Even day trips can be fun, and the memories you make will be priceless. They'll make you smile, and that's the best medicine for spring fever. I wanted to share with you a couple pictures from my camping trips. I apologize for the quality, they're old photos. But I hope you enjoy them. And until next time, have a good day. Bye for now. Here's Scott and myself getting ready for our camping trip. Look at those wheelchairs. They've come a long way since then. You can tell we're out west with that cowboy hat. Looking good, Dad. We actually made it to Hawaii when I was in junior high. I remember how warm, even the rain was warm. I loved it. I would go back in a heartbeat if I could.